Hi everyone, it's Doug, the point of sale data guy here with another point of sale data minute live broadcast on LinkedIn, the point of sale data guy YouTube channel, and pointofsaledatagaguy.com. Multiple ways to watch the episode today. So wherever you are, thanks for tuning in. A special shout out to my friends at the Canadian Office Products Association and the Canadian Home Trade Products Association for their continued sponsorship and marketing of today's episode, and to Krunchbox for their sponsorship. So when Amazon announced last week that Prime Day was going to be July 11th and 12th, I immediately thought I need to ask Jason Landro to come on and do an episode. Jason is an expert in Amazon marketing, all components of how to drive sales on the world's largest e-com channel. If you don't follow Jason Landro on LinkedIn, you need to. His content is amazing. And without further ado, I'm going to bring Jason on screen. Jason, thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you.
Everyone always gets a positive round of applause here when they come on the Point of Sale Data Minute. So, Jason, before we dig into today's topic, why don't you tell us a little bit about your marketing agency, Nectar, some of the work that you do, so we can bring the folks up to speed on that at the outset here.
Yeah, thanks for having me, first of all. Nectar is a digital marketing agency. We do everything from creative production, so photo, video in our studio, to ad buying, strategy support, data analytics, catalog management, and more. And we serve companies with either comprehensive management, we're doing everything soup to nuts, A to Z, or a la carte. So some brands just come to us for photo or video projects or ad management or a combination of different services.
Awesome. Awesome. And as you know, I'm always a big fan of your Amazon content. And that's one reason why I wanted to have you on, because you're so willing to share, your hints, tips, thoughts, etc. And it's just kind of I think, a really good guide for brands that are out there and those on LinkedIn that are looking to advance their business on Amazon. So thanks for all the great content, and again for your time today. So what I'm going to do, there's a large audience that was going to follow along today, so I think I'll show the chat on stream. So you should be able to type your message in there if you're watching, and we'll try and answer some questions as we go along. And one of the things I asked Jason before we got started today is how long did brands know ahead of time that when Prime Day was going to come? And he said, well, it's kind of within a 2-week window. Everyone was kind of hedging their bets. You needed to have all your information to Amazon earlier this year and have all your Prime Day specials in. So I was curious to see how that would unfold. Make sure they have enough inventory, because the last thing you want to do is drive all this volume and then not have the goods available to ship. So I think one of the interesting things that we were talking about, and what that kind of piqued my curiosity on the consumer side of the business, is if I'm a consumer and I now I know when Prime Day is, I'm going to hold back my purchases perhaps, or I'm going to wait until Prime Day hits and I'm going to buy everything I want. So anything after Prime Day is a bit of a lull. So if we start with what are your thoughts, your hints and tips on how brands can maybe elongate the Prime Day window, right? How do I get that some volume still coming in before Prime Day, and how do I get the long tail of sales afterwards?
Yeah, great question. So, I think it really depends on what category you sell in. If you're a consumable, you shouldn't see too much of a variance. Obviously, you're hoping to get a spike on Prime Day, especially if you're doing a deal, but you still have those recurring orders. For brands that are maybe hard lines and not consumables, or any category that isn't a consumable, you have to, I think, approach it a little bit differently. You'll want to, I think, there are one or two options. Last year, we tested out a strategy of actually giving discounts through coupons before Prime Day. We found it worked really, really well. Consumers are pretty savvy. They understand that some brands discount on Prime Day and some brands don't. In fact, some consumers wait to make a big purchase until Prime Day. They've decided they're going to buy a product. They wait until Prime Day to see if there will be a deal. If not, they're still going to buy it anyway. Using some discounting strategies pre-Prime Day can work really well to help keep driving revenue and make sure that the sales curve is not as there isn't a big of a dip before Prime Day and after Prime Day. I think one thing you want to look at is your ad spend as well. Focusing more on revenue generating ad units as opposed to a ton on top of funnel. However, the only caveat is if you are running a lot of deals on Prime Day, you want to get people interested in your listing or exposed to your listing. So you will need to run top of funnel advertising. So it really depends on your strategy on Prime Day. Ultimately, if you're going to be running discounts, you don't want to be as aggressive with trying to drive sales before Prime Day because it probably won't work as well and people know Prime Day is coming. But if you're not, I would try to maybe explore some lesser discounts throughout, before and after Prime Day, as well as during. But instead of a huge Prime Day deal, maybe you're doing a $5 off coupon if your product's $50, so 10% discount, something like that.
You think brands need to run discounts to have a successful Prime Day? Is that a key lever, kind of a key strategy to drive volume?
Definitely not. I think that uh, you should do it if it's going to be beneficial to your brand. A lot of studies that I've seen out there show that Prime Day isn't the best day to or event to acquire new to brand customers. That the majority of that traffic is due to deal hunters. Um, so I think it's really dictated by two things: your margins. Can you afford and sustain discounts like that? And to the type of brand you are. There's some brands that rarely discount. You have to ask yourself, is this an event that I want to discount for? There's some brands we work with that only discount a couple times a year and won't discount on Prime Day. So I don't think it's a must. And going back to it's kind of like Prime Day is the rising tide that lifts all ships. There's just more traffic, exponentially more traffic on Amazon during Prime Day. So people just buy more in general, and they're not only buying items that are on sale. So again, like I'll use actually a real world example. My electronic toothbrush has seen better days. So I'm going to buy one on Prime Day. I like the one I have. I'll probably buy the same one. Um, and if it's on sale, I'll definitely buy it. And if not, I might look at one or two other comps, but I'll probably just still end up buying it.
Right, right. Yeah, that's a good point. People are waiting to purchase, right? So let's see if it's on sale, and if it's not on sale, you still need it.
Yeah,
So whether you buy other items at that time that where you're going to save some money, increase basket size by item count, you buy that with something else. Maybe the replacement brushes are on special by some third
exactly.
party type thing, but you'll still make your purchase. How do brands counter kind of the discounts with like what their ad spend should be on that day? Are they kind of interrelated? Do you do one or both? What's your
Yeah,
kind of feeling on
100%.
that?
The slimmer your margins are, the more careful you have to be. You can't, you shouldn't, I don't think you should be losing money on Prime Day. I don't think that it's worth it. So you have to balance the discount you're getting and your ad spend. Often that means focusing on better selling items that have good organic rankings so that you don't have to pay as much to drive traffic. A lot of it, Prime Day can be great to move inventory where the items are variants on a detail page, even if they're not the best selling variants, because you can, those one of the variants should rank well, across relevant keywords. They click in and see that another color, let's say, or size is discounted. That can work really well. But I don't think Prime Day is the day to be aggressive to liquidate, inventory. It doesn't hurt to put up a discount as long as you don't have to pay for it, like a Prime Day deal or an exclusive deal. So, um, you have to definitely balance the discounts and the ad spend.
Yeah. That leads kind of into our next topic, just talking about like strategies, how you can take advantage of traffic. I mean, the traffic on Amazon on Prime Days is what percentage of that is it? Like 5 times, 10 times regular Amazon traffic? Is there a stat out for that? Is it 100 times more traffic on those 2 days than other days of the year? Or,
That's a good question. I don't actually know the answer to
yeah,
that question. I don't know how much is publicly available,
right.
but yeah, it's significant.
So what are some of the strategies you're recommending to brands to take advantage of that traffic? Then there's ad spend, there's discounting product, but what other kind of tips do you have that they could look at?
Yeah, I mean, I think again, it depends on your product category. You know,
Sure.
if we're a consumable, the goal is to get more subscribe and save purchasers. So those strategies are a little bit different than something that isn't a consumable. It's a one-time purchase. I think some really unique things that you can do are build a store page or change your homepage to be more tailored to Prime Day, so you can. You do have to be careful about the language you use in your store. Amazon, I believe, doesn't accept certain. Well, you can't use Amazon's marks in your brand store, so you can't use like Prime Day and the Amazon logo. And you also have to be careful about wording around discounts. But you can obviously within terms of service position those Prime Day deals to the extent you're running them, or just even some of your best sellers on your homepage because you know that there's more traffic. And then you know, every brand should be able to afford to do some discount, right? Consumers are looking for big discounts on Prime Day, 30, 40, 50% off. It's equivalent to Black Friday. But 5, 10% is meaningful, especially if you're a brand that discounts infrequently. So I think picking those discounts selectively, items where you get a lot of traffic, can really help boost sales, even if it's a coupon, which we know a lot of people clip the coupons but don't actually redeem them.
Right, right. And if we pivot from there, like the Amazon Marketing Cloud, it's a hot topic. Where do you see it fitting into all of this?
Yeah, I kicked that around in my head, and I don't really see it being a great fit. I think it's a better fit to analyze Prime Day versus Prime Day because really Amazon Marketing Cloud, even though it's kind of the hot new thing, it's to look at trends and aggregated data. So how are people getting bought? What is the path to purchase? What is the media mix that's leading to success? And Prime Day is a 2-day event, so it's hard and it's heavily focused on discounting. So essentially, it's in 2 days of uh, data that is an aberration. So you really want to compare it to equivalent time periods, which are um, Black Friday and other past discounting events, and that would require that you have enough traffic and sales data to be able to get a meaningful set of data and have it be statistically relevant. So I think it's challenging. I think though you can see what is performing well in terms of different ad strategies in your media mix and try to double down on that on Prime Day, especially if you're running deals. I think that would be my suggestion for how to best use AMC. Maybe you see that DSP is a longer term play, but that eventually consumers who purchase are 40% likely to purchase if they first see a DSP ad. Okay, great. But we also know that sponsored products is successful in driving revenue. That should be telling you that before Prime Day, you want to be heavy on DSP, but maybe on Prime Day itself, you tone down the DSP spend and you reallocate that to sponsored products. So I think that's probably the best example, is to give you guidance on how, if you have a fixed budget, how to best allocate that on Prime Day, especially where you have a good media mix between, the sponsored suite of products, DSP, as well as any other ad services that you're using through Amazon. And the other ones are even more expensive, so that then it becomes even more important.
Great. One of the questions we had as we were kind of marketing our conversation today came from Scott, and he was wondering what type of remarketing strategies do you see success with post Prime Day. So he was most interested in sponsored display tactics that you're just talking about, but he'd also be curious to hear about an AMC DSP combo. The world of Amazon is filled with acronyms, so every week I try and learn another one, right? So this is one here today that I'll throw out there.
Yeah, so AMC is Amazon Marketing Cloud, SD sponsor display, DSP is demand side platform. Sorry, space there for a second. Um, and starting with sponsor display, it can be great to remarket people who visited your specific product detail pages during Prime Day. Um, I think, it's a double edged sword because people are looking for discounts. So, if you're retargeting them when you have all this traffic on Prime Day and they didn't discount, I mean, they didn't buy, are they going to buy without a discount? I don't know. You just have to try it. When consumers are doing that, when brands are doing that, we recommend that they give some discount after Prime Day, especially if they're being more aggressive with retargeting. I think that consumables lend themselves to that type of strategy because the goal is to get somebody on subscribe and save, and getting them to make the purchase. Initially, the first purchase is the hardest part. But again, it's a double-edged sword. I would recommend not over investing, testing strategies, and then trying to figure out what actually works in terms of retargeting and discount, or whether you can retarget without a discount and be successful. So what you're doing is you're putting in the purchase window, or including Prime Day, and serving ads to people who viewed the product detail page but didn't purchase. And then again, you want to roll those learnings forward, and you might find that certain ASINs perform well, certain ASINs perform well only with the discount for retargeting, and then you can carry those learnings forward to Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and then obviously any other sales events. And DSP just allows you, um, affords you more functionality with the targeting as well as exclusion. So you can exclude specific time periods as well as other whole host of um, other options. So it's more granular and you have more control. The more you're going to spend on this strategy, the more I'd encourage using DSP as opposed to sponsor display, which is kind of more like a retargeting auto campaign, whereas DSP would be more like the manual campaign on steroids.
Right, right. So as we wrap up our session today, we're almost at the 20-minute mark. I'll just leave you with one question, and kind of one that we haven't thought of or talked about. And it's just, so if you're sitting around the boardroom table at your brand today, whether you're big, small, or medium, what's that kind of one nugget or one good piece of advice that you would start with, or just make sure before they leave that meeting they can put a check in that box?
With respect to Prime Day.
Yeah, yeah, a successful Prime Day. So we talked a little bit about DSP, we talked about discounting. Is there
Yeah,
anything else?
I would say go narrow your focus, and be purposeful. So some brands try to discount everything and drive traffic to everything. I would say pick your products that you really want to focus on, and drive there. That advice is probably a little late because you had to have all your inventory in a while ago, and deal submitted. I mean, you still can create coupons and sale prices, but yeah, I would say be focused. Don't spray and pray. Your best sellers are always your best sellers for a reason. To the extent you can lean on them, even during Prime Day, the more compounding growth you get. A lot of people forget that largely your reviews are a function of your order velocity. So if you can really spike your order velocity on Prime Day, you can get a lot more reviews, and it can really get you ahead. So focusing on your best sellers gives you the best chance of doing that, and then getting that brand halo effect for the rest of the brand.
Awesome. Well, Jason, I told you it'd be a fast 20 minutes. That was some great insights today. Really informative. I always learn a lot when we chat, so I appreciate your time. Thanks
Yeah.
for coming on this episode. Hopefully, we get to
Thanks
do
for
it
having me.
again later on in the year.
Yeah.
Enjoy the rest of
Sounds
the
good.
day, and thanks for the great content.
Thank you.
Everyone, that's our episode with Jason from Nectar. Make sure you follow Jason Landro on LinkedIn. He has some amazing Amazon content that'll keep your brand where it needs to be when it comes to sales and success on the world's largest e-com site. So I really appreciate your time. I'll be back July 20th. I'll have Peter Giannetti. He is the editor-in-chief of Homepage News. We're going to talk about houseware industry trends and changes to the Inspired Home Show. Hope to see you then, and thanks again for tuning in today.